Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to our 787 Global Tour, or was it Global 787 Tour? I keep forgetting. It's been a little while since I did a flight on here, and so yeah, I'm just kind of lost right now. Today we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to move away from the United Airlines livery. Part of the reason, quite frankly, is because I just find that livery ugly. I just do. I don't know what it is. Like they could have gone big and done something great with it, and it's just kind of bleh. Right? Am I right, or is it just me? Maybe it's just me. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fly with Etihad Airways today. Is it Etihad or Etihad? Not sure on that either. But they have a beautiful livery. It's well done too. Whoever did this repaint did a great job. I don't know how hard it was to get that on the tail. In real life, that's got to be hard to do, much less to do it in flight sim. So kudos to you on that. Now our flight today is going to be from LDPL or Pula all the way out to OMDB. Now I did have scenery for OMDB, but for whatever reason I cannot find my information on it, and therefore cannot install it. So we're going to be flying default on both ends. It's not too big a deal. It just is what it is, and I think that's the gist of everything. I'm looking forward to this flight. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Haven't done this in a little while, so I'll probably stumble my way around the 787 for a little bit, but either way, it's going to be a good time, so I hope you guys enjoy it. What do you say we jump into the flight deck and get to work? Alrighty folks, welcome aboard Etihad Airways Flight 3108 service to Dubai. No, really, I'm just talking to you guys. Welcome to Flight Deck. And what do you say we just dive right in with our Flight Deck safety inspection. First things first, we want to make sure the battery switch is on, which it is. I do want to make note, wrong button. It is so freaking hard to read these. Like, I don't know what it is. If I zoom way in, you can read them just fine. They come out crystal clear. I think I mentioned this before. But when I go to a view where I can see the whole panel, they're hard to read, and I don't know if Quality Wings did that so that you could get better frame rates or what, but it kind of sucks, to be honest with you. But anyway, the battery switch is on. That's this guy over here. On the hydraulic panel, the C1 and C2 pump switches need to be off. I don't know why they're calling them switches. They're selectors, and these are the demand pump selectors, and these need to be off as well. But these aren't switches, they're selectors. These are switches, these are selectors. That's just the way I think of it anyway. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Let's get the seatbelt sign to auto there. Wiper selectors need to be off. We'll just check both sides. Now nav light switch needs to be on and should stay on. Logo light switch, we don't need that. Landing gear lever is down. That's back down here. Landing gear lever is down, and the ICUS indication displays green, which it does right here. Bam. Alternate flap arm switch is off, and like I said, it's been a little while. Where's alternate flap? There it is. Alternate flap arm switch is off, and the flap selector is off as well, which is this guy right here. So off and off. And then the parking brake is set, which it is over here. And we've already put external power on the aircraft. Now there's this weird thing. Usually you hit shift and 2, which I just did, and you get the little Quality Wings window pop up, but it's not working for me. The only way I can get it to pop up is by clicking here right now. Not sure why that is. I'm also having this weird and obnoxious issue. Normally I would undock this and move it off to the other screen, but when I do, it puts a frame rate count right here. And then when I move it off the screen, the frame rate count just floats right here. It's really annoying. So, but anyway, why is L1 door still blinking? Did I close them accidentally? That one's open. That one's open. No. That doesn't make any sense. Red is open, right? Yeah, red is open. So what the heck did it close for? I opened it. Oh. Okay, well, passengers are loading now, so that's nice. Okay, moving on, because otherwise we're going to be staying here all friggin' day. So you can see that with that, I put the external power on, and then when you jump up top here, you get your external power right here, and you've also got aft external power there if you have that on, and that's how you take care of that. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. What else we got here? We're not going to do the APU right now. We'll start that in a little bit, and that takes care of our flight deck safety inspection checklist, I think. Actually, let's real quick, let's go on here. I want to make sure I didn't miss it. Click on checklist here. Oh, we didn't do the oxygen and flight instruments. Don't really matter right now, right? Let's do the oxygen. I mean, they do, but they don't. So oxygen is tested. Here we go. And then the instruments right now, I mean, we're not going to change anything. That's pre-flight anyway, right? That's not really flight deck safety inspection, and we're going to be doing that next. So I'm going to leave that alone, and I'll be back here in just a second. Alrighty, let's press right on to our initial pre-flight procedure. I do want to say that, you know, obviously the aircraft's not cold and dark. I'm going to pop up right up here somewhere. You'll see a little thing pop up that'll give you a link directly to the Quality Wings 787 full flight tutorial that I did. Now there are going to be a few minor differences because that was done in FSX. This is P3D. This is sort of the updated version, but overall it will help you out just fine. And I probably need to watch it myself since I haven't flown this aircraft very much, but we're not going to. So let's press on. The IRS selectors, so in this case normally it says, you know, turn them off and then turn them back on. And that's these two right here, but our IRS is already aligned, and so there's no reason not to leave it there. So let's go down to our FMC, and we want to check our AirAC cycle. It just updated yesterday, so there we are on 2008, looking good there. And we want to verify that our model is correct and we have the correct engines and all that. Then we can press on to our position initialization and put in our reference airport, which is LDPL. Let me just double check that. LDPL. Alright, there it is. And then, so for this one, you don't actually have to enter a present position because the Quality Wing 787 gets the information from the flight sim. So it already knows where we're at. So with that in mind, we can press on. We can go to the status display, which is under Systems and Status. And then we want to check the... Hold on, I almost knocked something down here. There are things that go on. Okay. Hydraulic quantities do not display RF or OF, which would be, I'm assuming, refill or overfill. And there's the quantities right there, and they don't show either. Liquid cooling quantities do not display RF or OF, and that's again down here. And then oxygen pressure is sufficient for flight. 1910 should be more than sufficient for the flight. And then we need to select circuit breakers, and there's no open or tripped circuit breakers here, so we're good on that. And then we're supposed to go back here and go to the engine display, which is which one? It's none of these, right? What does it say? Primary and secondary engine indications display existing conditions. That's up here, and that does. You know, yeah, existing conditions are at 0. So the engine is this one here, so you click that to get the secondary. Again, it's been a little while, bear with me. We're going to do several flights in a row, or I'm going to do several flights in a row to refamiliarize myself very well with this. And then engine oil quantity needs to be 18 quarts minimum. It is at 21 and 21, so we're good on that. And then what else? Overhead panel comes next. We'll jump right into that. Flight control services panel is set. So it's talking about these guys up here. Those should just be as they are. The tail switch and the wing switch both on normal. And heading reference switch should be normal as well, which it is right there. I know it's really hard to read, but trust me, it says normal. Primary flight computer's disconnect switch needs to be guard closed. That's this guy right here. And then battery switch is on. IFE passenger seats power switch is on. So these two are on. APU gens can stay on even though the APU is off. External power is on right now. All of the AC buses, hold on, I bypassed them here. You know what, it doesn't matter because I know what's supposed to be what here. So these guys are all supposed to be on with the off lights showing. These guys all guarded with the fault lights showing. The wiper needs to be off. And then as far as the lights here, it's you know, your preference. Coming back up top here, you can test this guy. There you go. This is the towing power should be off. Flight deck door power should be on. These guys should be blank and guarded. Guard closed. Thank you. Moving on. Emergency lights are armed and the guard is closed. Service inner path phone is off. Passenger oxygen guarded and blank. And window heat, all of those on. Ram air turbine, don't mess with it, leave it alone, or you're going to end up having problems. And where are we at on here? Down to the hydraulic panel then. So both of these guys on with the fault lights showing. All four of these guys off with the fault lights showing. Passenger seats are on auto. You can hit the chime if you want. Lights are as needed or as desired. We can change brightness, whatever. I'm fine with the way it is. And then moving up top here, ground test needs to be on normal. CVR, you don't have to test that. All of these should be blank and closed, and then you can do the test here. There you go. EEC modes are normal. Start selectors are normal. Fuel jettison, everything blank. Don't mess with any of it. Fuel pumps can all remain off for the moment. Anti-ice is all in the auto position. This is the flow that you're doing here, right? Nav lights on. The rest of the lights are off. And we can left click this guy and hold and move away or change views or whatever so that you can see all. It doesn't matter. They turn on. You got to hold the button non-stop with that one. So anyway, that's how you make sure that all the lights are working, which I'm sure they are. It's a flight simulator, right? Let's see, I think we're already past this one here. We are, and we're already past this one here. Yes, we are. And there we are. ELT switch is coming up next, which is this guy right here. And it's armed and the guard closed. Make sure it's not turned on. Humidifier or humidification switch can be on. Cargo temp, we'll leave it on low. This guy, I think it says 10 o'clock, doesn't it? It doesn't actually say. So, I think it's supposed to be 12 o'clock. All of these guys are on auto. Leave them alone. These two are supposed to be 10 o'clock. So, there we go. 10 o'clock position. Auto, on. Leave that one as is with the guard closed. Auto and auto. This is your pressurization now. There's no reason for us to mess with that unless we have some type of failure. And then the right wiper selector is off. That takes us up to the glare shield here. So flight director switches need to come on. This is all in one long flow, right? So auto throttles can come on as well. We don't have our what do you call it? V2 yet, so we can't do anything with that, and we haven't taken care of our departure briefing yet, so we have no idea what altitude we need to be at. So honestly, I think we need to break away here for a minute, and we're going to come back to this part because that's what comes next anyway. Alright, so I think I got thrown off my game here a little bit because we didn't even take a look at our flight plan to start with. So let's do that, and then we're going to dive right into the next part here. Taking a look at our Sim Toolkit Pro here, it's going to be 2,315 nautical mile flight. Not very far, especially considering up until today I've been doing the Circadian Rhythm Killer Tour, and I just finished a flight yesterday from London to Sydney. So yeah, this is a really short flight. We're looking at trip fuel of 55,295 pounds. I think it's actually going to be a little higher, and I'll explain why in just a second. Final reserve fuel of 47.95 and block fuel 69.956. Now, if you use the Quality Wings tool and you put in this air distance and you put in this flight level, it gives you like 71,000 and change. So I went with the recommendation from their tool because it should be more accurate than this as far as the simulation aircraft is concerned. So that's what we went with. Moving on down here. We are scheduled for 5 hours 10 minutes. I don't know that it's going to take that long, but we'll see. I forgot to cover it up here. Cost index is at 149, so that's what we're going to fly it at. We'll just fly it at 150. 350 packs on board, 1,500 pounds of cargo. Payload is 82,000 pounds. Zero fuel weight of 369,900 pounds. Pretty far below our max. And landing weight is going to be well below our max. Should be a nice smooth landing. Now I just want to note real quick, I'm going to put this up for a vote, but if you haven't seen it, go look at it, because by the time this releases, that vote should have been up. If I'm flying aircraft that are not based in the US or on carriers that are not based in the US, it is most likely that they use kilograms for the weight of fuels, right? Other than that, it's kilograms and QNH rather than pounds and altimeter. That's really the only difference, because they all use statute miles, and they all use, or not statute miles, nautical miles, and they all use feet for altitude and all of that. So those are the main two differences. But if you want me to use QNH specifically and kilograms in non-US carriers, I will start doing that, but I want the feedback from you guys. Alright, okay, so there's the gist of that. Let's jump back over here now. And what do we got going over here? I'll tell you what we got going over here. We haven't set up our flight plan in our FMC yet. So, jumping back over here to the CDU, and if we go to route, we can type it in, or there's an easier way to do it. Just go to initial reference, index, and then go to load. That's load panel, flight plans. There we go. And I saved it in there. Click on it. And just like that, you saw the waypoints popping up right there. And the flight number is Etihad, which is ETD. And it's 3108, right? Yep, 3108. We'll put that flight number in there. And then we don't have the runway yet, so activate, execute. Now let's go departure arrival, and our departure is supposed to be Obala 1A. So where's the next page on this? Oh, it's down here. Duh. Obala 1A, and no transition, but that is for runway 9. Now, as of right now, the wind should be holding out for runway 9. We're looking at, oops, that was the wrong button there. We are looking at wind of 090 at 15 knots, which is probably pretty accurate. So let's execute that real quick. Go to the route page. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. If you look out here, see the trees blowing around? That's one of the things I really... So I have the Orbix trees, whatever they're called, speed trees or something like that. And you can see they're blowing around in the wind. So it's definitely windy. So I like that. Anyway, moving on. So let's go to performance initialization now. And I mean, all we have to put in, well, we got a couple things to put in here. So the reserves we said were what? Final reserves 4795. So I'm gonna stick with that. No, it needs to be 4.7. I think is the way to put it in there. Yep, there we go. 4.7. Cruise altitude is flight level 390. I don't know if you can put it in as like the actual amount, 4795. I don't think you can. And then the cost index we said is going to be 150. Let's see if it takes that. It does. Fantastic. And then we'll execute that and pre-flight complete. But we don't have our what do you call it, V speeds yet, right? So we're not super heavy, but our runway is a mere 9,000 feet, so we'll stick with a normal takeoff, but I think we'll go to climb 1, and then we're gonna do, I always forget the flap settings. What do we got? 1.5, is that 10? Boy, that glare makes it hard to see, doesn't it? Holy crap, can't see nothing on that. You can't see it at all. What the heck is that all about? Oh, you gotta go way up here to see it. 1.5 and then 10. That was a little crazy. Let's go with, I think we can do flaps 5 on this one. So, oh, it's got flaps 5 degrees right here already, doesn't it? Okay, so center of gravity trim, just click it once, click it twice, 24%. And then that gives us 143, 146, and 154 on our V speeds. You don't have to click on them, but I do it anyway. And that takes care of our FMC initialization and flight planning, of course. Alright, we got about 24 more items that we're supposed to go through here for our pre-flight. Remember that these are based on the flow concept. It's not a checklist per se. The ICAS transfer switch is as needed. I prefer to have the large display here, so it's where it needs to be. The nav display weather switch is off. So the weather switch is this guy here. That's weather on, that's weather off. You don't want to fry anybody because it uses radar, which is it could irradiate them. So you leave it off until you're ready to use it on the runway and in the air, of course. Traffic and terrain switches as needed. We don't need those on right now. And then on the mode control panel, the flight director switch is on. Auto throttle arm switches are on. If I look over here at my Navigraph, I'm just double checking altitude restrictions here. Not seeing anything, no maximum altitude, so we should be good to go straight up to 390. take that all the way up. And what did we say our V2 was? So V2 is 154. Yeah, we'll have no problem reaching that. So 159 on here. That's too low.
Good morning.
I don't even think we need regular takeoff. Well, it's a short runway, so we'll just stick with regular takeoff. Autopilot disengage bar is up. Heading and track reference switches as needed. Bank limit selector is auto. All of this stuff right now is on the MCP. And again, in the full flight tutorial, I went over all this. So I'm just reading through it right now because I've already checked the majority of this. Altitude increment selector as needed. We've got it at 1,000 right now. Oxygen has been tested. Let's see. TCAS is off. No V-speed until takeoff speeds are selected. That's gone already. Roll mode is TOGA or TOGA, and HUD is TOGA. So that's on this guy right here. Does it pop up? These don't pop up, do they? So let me just zip over there for you. And what it's talking about is right there. Alright, so TOGA and TOGA or TOGA. AFDS status is flight director. That's this guy right here. So those are all good. And what else? Landing gear lever is down. Alternate gear switch guard is closed. Auto brake selector needs to go to RTO. Give that a left click there. Local altimeter setting. I should have checked that, huh? QNH is 1013. So we'll turn this over to hectopascals and then go to. They should all be synced. Ugh. Can't see nothing on this thing sometimes. 1013, that's 1015. 1013 is standard, right?
Thank you.
I think it is. Yeah, that's 2992. Okay, so 1013, and then you probably have to switch this one over to hectopascals as well. Yep, you do. And then I don't think that the center one syncs up, does it? It's just on standard, and so it shouldn't be standard. It should be 1013. I guess it just shows standard when it's on that. Okay, that takes care of that. What else? Local altimeter setting is set. Speed brake lever is down. Reverse thrusters are down. Forward thrust levers are closed. Parking brake is set. Stabilizer cutout switches guards closed. That's these two guys right here. And moving on, fuel control switches are cut off. Fuel control switch fire warning lights, verify extinguish. That's these two right here. Alternate flaps arm switch is off, and alternate flaps selector is off. Alternate flaps is up here. And I'm just kind of breezing past some of this stuff. Flap lever is set. It should indicate 0, which it does, and it indicates 0 up here. And what else? All of that takes us down to the CDU EFB pre-flight. Now we didn't do the EFB. We're not going to go through this. It doesn't have a lot of use in my opinion, but you do have the performance section, so you could go here and you could search LDPL and search all. There you go. Select that one, and then runway is going to be 09. Condition is going to be dry. Thrust rating is going to be takeoff. Flap config is going to be 5. And then what's our outside air temperature right now? Should be, can't see it on there from that view. Let me go to a view where we can see it. Plus 25 degrees Celsius. So if we go here to outside air temperature, we go, I don't think you need to put the plus sign, just go 25, and then QNH is 1013. And takeoff weight is, you would get that over here. So takeoff weight is 425.4. So we'll go 425.4, and then center of gravity was 24, correct? We can double check that real quick. Center of gravity is 24%. So we're good on that, and then we haven't done the wind yet. The wind is 090 at 15, correct? I'm just double checking. It's changed a little, 080 at 14. So wind is 080/14. No. Leave that at 24, and then go up here and go 080/14. And And then we'll just hide the keyboard, and hopefully that set. See, I don't like that. It should be like there should be like an enter button or something like that, right? Anyway, let's calculate. So this says 143, 146, 154, and that's the same as we got over here, right? 143, 146, 154. So you can calculate your takeoff speeds over here if you want as well. And that's really the gist of it. And let me just check everything else on here. That's going to actually take us all the way up to our before push and start procedure. I got to tell you guys, it's crazy how there's just enough differences in this aircraft from, like, say, the 777. I just finished a flight yesterday with the 777, and I've done a bunch of them recently. And there's just enough differences that you really got to stay on your toes. It can be pretty difficult to bounce from aircraft to aircraft. So I hope that you guys are bearing with me, and I apologize that this is going a little long, but I promise we will get faster as flights continue. Let's jump down here real quick. So our pre-flight is complete now, so we can check that guy off. The only thing we didn't do is put in the runway heading. Let me just double check that for you real quick over here. So runway heading is 084 degrees. So we should have that in here as well. Put it over here to 084. It's going to be a pretty straight out departure there. That was too far. Don't you hate when it bounces like that? So they're doing announcements right now. We're going to close the doors here momentarily. Okay, that takes care of that. If we click on normal, that takes us to our before start checklist. We're not actually quite ready to start engines yet. We got a few things we want to go through here. First of all, let's make sure our doors are closed. And if you just come up here and click right here, and we can go ahead and we can close all these doors now. Don't tell me aft cargo never opened. Are they waiting to load cargo back there? It doesn't look like it. We'll find out here in a minute, won't we? If it does, I'll just pause the video. Let me just open that one for a minute, and it's not even going to open it. We'll close all these. Oh, it's opening it now, isn't it? Main exit closing, and then I have some issues with this sometimes. I tell you what, GSX, like with this GSX position, right? So you can see we're right up to the edge here. I had to customize the position and then move the aircraft to it using GSX, and it put it all the way inside this thing. And if I went back any further, GSX didn't recognize that I was even on an airport position. It's really frustrating when it does stuff like that. Let's just make sure it's not asking us for anything else. It is not. Okay, so let's get rid of that for the moment. Let's press on here. Our seatbelts are on. The seatbelt signs are on as well. Right there, we put them on auto. We'll put them to the on position. Give the cabin chime, let them know. And then let's just jump to the overhead here. Hydraulic pumps all need to be on or auto. That's these guys here and these guys here as well. And it doesn't give us a specific order. But it does say verify that the fault lights are extinguished. The fault lights are all extinguished. Let's see. It says, no, you know what, it does give an order, my apologies. So it's supposed to be right demand selector, this guy, then left, this guy, and then it's C1 and C2, and I did it completely the opposite. We need to put the fuel on, and we need to start the APU. I haven't done that yet. So right click once, right click twice, finish getting our fuel on. We have nothing in the center tank, so we should be good to go. And then it says check the fuel on board as displayed on the forward ICAS display against the Quality Wings dispatcher. Now I don't have the dispatcher up, but our fuel we can see on here is 74.3, which is just a little bit higher than I think we're going to need anyway. I didn't do that. Quality Wings, whatchamacallit, did. Jumping back up here, left and right fuel pump switches are on. Center fuel pump switches are only on if needed. It says on here select on, and if the center tank fuel quantity is displayed in amber, both pressure lights illuminate until after engine start because of load shedding. And it does that in the 777 as well, but only on one of them. But we don't have fuel in the center. You can see here that's 0.1. We're not going to use that, right? So, but that's why we got 74.3. So there's 74.2 plus 0.1. We're not going to use that fuel, so I'm not too worried about it. Stab and rudder trim set to, well, we can't do the stab trim yet, right? Even though it's supposed to be 4. If we were to put this on, what is it? Info? No. Come on. Now my brain doesn't want to work. There's the CDU, that systems is where we need to go. And then flight controls. and it's already at 4.0, so we're good on that. Hydraulics, you can see we've got hydraulic pressure in the center. Doors, entry to left is still open, and all of these are still oh jeez, I'm just having trouble here. Okay, so L2 close, aft cargo close.
Before start checklist.
Oh, now it's opening. Close. Goodness gracious. Okay, now they're all closed and armed, so that's good. And what else? So the stab trim is good, so we're good on that. Doors are closed, locked, and armed. Beacon can come on now. My goodness, I'm a mess right now, aren't I? Transponder can go to transponder mode. That's going to be way back here. And how do you put it to transponder mode? It's just automatic, right? Isn't it? Transponder code. You got weather on here, ground proximity warning. I know I'm going to have an issue with this. I just know I am. Oh, yeah. Put it back on 2336. There we go. Okay. I'm not going to mess with it anymore now. And then perform the before start checklist, which we can do up here. So passenger signs are on. MCP, the V2 is set to 159. Heading is set to 084 and altitude is set to 390. V1 is, let's put this back on the CDU. V1 is 143, V2 is 146, and I'm sorry, VR is 146, and V2 is 154. CDU pre-flight is complete. Taxi and takeoff briefing is not. So we're going to do that now. Alrighty, taking a look at our Sim Toolkit Pro. Here we are at LDPL. We are positioned right about here at parking space 8. And our ATIS is going to be on 129.150. Tower is going to be, I guess, either one. We'll go to just 132.0. We're not using it today anyway. There's a few notices on here. Helicopter activity, gusts and wind shear can be expected on final approach to or climb out from runway 9 if in conditions of strong east-northeasterly winds. Our wind is, yeah, easterly wind, so might be interesting. Let's see, we're going to basically, it's pretty straightforward. We're actually all the way on the end here now that I think about it. We're going to push back with the tail to the right, nose to the left, taxi out here onto Alpha, take Alpha all the way down to hold short at Bravo. Pretty straightforward on that. Taking a look at the departure itself. It's straight out for us, so the CAV ran NDB and then 084, continuing on 084 out to the CRES NDB and then out to Obala. And then it's on course from there. It's pretty straightforward. That is your taxi and departure briefings. Alright, we've gone ahead and requested the pushback, and we can finish off this before start checklist, and that'll take us to the before taxi checklist, which we don't need yet. So we can put this on the info page for, no, not the info, I want the systems page. There we go. We'll leave it on the systems page for now. Alright, so the startup is pretty straightforward.
Hello, Captain. We're ready for pushback.
It's a simultaneous engine start, and the way we're going to do is we're going to start with engine number 1. We'll left click the start switch to run or to start, and then we'll as soon as we see an indication on the N2 down here,
Locking gear.
we'll go ahead and we'll introduce fuel, and then you got to wait a minimum of 5 seconds before starting engine number 2. So that's how we're going to do it. It should be pretty easy and pretty straightforward. And I don't think we've missed anything, although it's hard to say at this point because I'm a soup sandwich this morning. But we'll get there, I promise. You know what I need is I need just a proper checklist. What I've got is the tutorial from the FCOM here, and so there's a lot of stuff on here. You know, when you're first learning the aircraft, it's good to have all this, but it also makes it very, very slow. And so that's a little frustrating for me, but okay, straight pushback. No, we're gonna have to do a quick edit, and hopefully we don't have any issues with ACARS. That is so frustrating, isn't it? Okay, let's see if it'll bring us around this corner here properly without going across the grass. It will not. What if I put it right here? Yeah, it's gonna take us right across the grass. Let's put it right here then. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a mess, but we're gonna go with it. All right.
Departure check.
Let's
Bypass bin
yeah, he's
inserted.
gonna keep saying release parking brakes. I'm just making sure. Okay, it didn't mess with my A cars. Here's what we need to do though. So let's just double check, make sure that APU gen is on, the APU is running. Let's turn the external power off, and then hop back down here, bring up the quality wings, and we can remove power and wheel chocks.
Release parking brakes.
And now we can release the parking brakes.
Commencing push.
There we go.
All engines
I forgot to do that once I started the APU. You see, I'm just a bit of a mess this morning. I'm trying to get caught up here. Okay, so we're pushing back. Let's go ahead and take care of this engine start here. So again, starting with engine number 1, left click to start. Come down here so that you can see there's your N2 coming up already, right? Why does this say EGT here? That's not the EGT though, that's the N2. Go ahead and introduce fuel, and then you should see the auto start pop up on here, right? Which we did, and these engines start pretty quick. We've waited a minimum of 5 seconds, so we're gonna hop up here, and I just waited a couple extra seconds just to be sure. And then there's the N2 spinning up, so let's go ahead and start engine number 2. Look how fast he's walking. Alright. Okay, I'm going to finish the pushback, let the engines finish starting, and then we'll come back on. We'll take care of our after start and before taxi procedures and checklist. Alright, we got the engines up and running. I've already confirmed a good engine start. Let's jump up top right away and turn the APU off. No need to keep burning the fuel. Anti-ice will remain on auto. It's as required. Recall needs to be checked. If we jump down here,
unlocking gear,
and hit it again, and there you go. So TCAS is off. That makes sense. Flight controls need to be checked at this point. So you can check these anywhere you want. We can do it. So we can do it right here. We can just go flight controls. And I forgot to program my flight controls. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just loaded this livery in today, so I knew that I needed to set up FSUI PC, and I even told myself before I did anything else, make sure you do FSUI PC, and then I forgot. So, flight control check. Full left. There we go. Full right. They react fast on this thing. There we go. And then all the way up. All the way down, and hopefully the rudders are right as well. Full left, full right, and I'm going to sneeze here in a minute. There you go. You didn't get a cough yet, but you got a Captain Max sneeze. That takes care of the flight control check. And okay, let's put this guy on nav display. What else we got here? Radio panel is good. Flight deck door is closed and locked. Let me just make sure we didn't miss anything else. That's good. Oh, we do need to set the flaps. We said we're going to do flaps 5. So that's going to be setting number 2. We know that our trim is already set. Now our reference speeds are good. Stab and rudder trim is good. And perform the before taxi checklist. We'll throw this guy on checklist real quick. There's before taxi. Anti-ice is on auto. Recall has been checked. Flight controls have been checked. Ground equipment is clear. And that means we are ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. Get to a proper view here. Track IR coming on a little jump. There it is. I'm not so sure I like that view. Is it just me, or does it look like it's a little cockeyed? I think it's a little cockeyed. I think we're supposed to be right there. What do you think? Let me save that new view there. That's just, that'll drive you nuts, right? Okay, track IR coming back on, little jump. There we go. And then let's get, we need the wing lights can come on, the taxi lights can come on, and we are ready to go. Let's get the brakes off. There we go. And we don't need any thrust. It's going on its own. So away we go. Now, I'm going to talk about one thing for a second here. Actually, I'm going to arm the LNAV and the VNAV first. There we go. The only complaint I have here about this aircraft, I think Quality Wings did an absolutely beautiful job. But the chief complaint I have is the inability to read what is on these panels clearly unless you're zoomed in really close, right? So some of it you can read, like passenger signs, hydraulics, and so on, but like you can't really see this panel very well unless I move way up here, and I just don't like that, right? So that's my chief complaint there. Okay. This thing, again, we didn't put any thrust in, and it's just going on its own. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to taxi on out. And once we're close to holding short of the runway, we'll hop back on here and get our before takeoff stuff done, and then away we go. Sound good? Sounds good. Alright folks, there's no traffic inbound, so we can go ahead and just roll right into things here. Let's go ahead and let's get those landing lights coming on. I know it's a little early for that, but because we're trying to do everything kind of all together here, it's just a little easier that way. And we can go on here and put this on checklist really quick, and it went straight to our after takeoff checklist because everything else was ready to go. So let's put that back on nav display. I like to have the vertical situation deal up there. I think that's pretty cool. So let's get the weather radar on as well. We've got the TCAS already on. Hit the cancel recall, and you can see there's a little bit of weather out there. Recall, nothing coming up. We can get rid of that menu there. That is one thing, it can be a little difficult with this aircraft, the fact that it wants to go, right? So, and let's swing her around here. You have to kind of ride the brakes just a little bit. I know you're not supposed to, but you kind of have to on this thing in the sim, otherwise it's just gonna go. So I wonder if it's like that in the real world or if that's just a Quality Wings thing. Okay, we cut it a little too tight there. My bad. A little further there. Yeah, that's going to line us up pretty good right there. We're going to be a little off, but that's alright. So when we first start off, we're going to be a little off there. Okay, tracker coming on for just a second. Let's just double check, make sure we didn't miss anything. I got 50 pages of things to do here. Transponders on TARA, weather is set, vertical situation is set, lights are on. Departure briefing is complete. Flaps are set at 15. LNAV and VNAV are both armed, and auto throttle is also armed. We've performed the before takeoff checklist, which means we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and bring some thrust in here. And these engines have thrust to spare, I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, bring her up around 50%. Let her stabilize for just a second. Release and toga.
Check thrust.
There we go. Hands remain on the throttles. Airspeed is alive.
Thrust set.
Oh, let's get the track IR back on. There we go.
80 knots. Check.
There's 80 knots. Oh yeah, we're good.
B1. Rotate.
There's rotate. Boy, he is quiet, huh? I'm gonna have to change that volume. There we go. Up, up, and away. Positive rate of climb. Gear coming up.
Positive rate. Gear up.
Ooh, this bird wants to climb, doesn't it? There we go. Not too fast there, baby. Woo! Wow. I'm trimming nose down right now just because this thing wants to climb so fast. Alright. That is one thing about this airplane. I mean, it has performance to spare. There is no doubt about that. Alright, we're looking pretty good though. It's pretty much straight out. Not too big a deal here. You know what I forgot to check? Transition altitude. It's 10,000 feet here and I didn't set it. So I will set that as soon as we get the autopilot on here. Let me just take her a little further here. Let's go ahead. Let's bring the autopilot on. Let's get the track IR coming off. Let's jump down here. We should be able to do it on the VNAV page 3. There's page 2, page 3, and then no, it's not on here, is it? Figures. Let's see. Ooh, I'm not, you know what? I'm genuinely not certain where to set transition altitude on here. That's cruise altitude. There it is, transition altitude. So 10,000. There we go. Put that right there. Okay, so it's page 1 on this one. All right. So let's go back to, let's go to the progress page here. Let's go to the legs page here. Jump back up here. What are we looking at? Let's go ahead and get some flaps up. Go to flaps 1. We can go all the way flaps up right now if we want. Speed's coming up nicely to 250. Bring the flaps all the way up. Looking pretty good. Let me just find my I know what the procedures are. I just like to try and make sure I'm following the list here. Alright, so gear is up, flaps are up, anti-ice is on auto and will remain on auto. We do need to set standard once we get above 10,000. See, it's showing it already. Look at that. See, it's showing. That's weird. Why is it saying already that we have to go to standard? I went to standard already, but transition altitude was not 5,000 feet. So I don't. It didn't even show 5,000 feet on FMC. So why did it do that? That doesn't really make sense, does it? That's strange to me. But anyway, checklist real quick. After takeoff, landing gears up, flaps are up, and our next one will be our approach checklist. So we're good on that. Everything is good. Everything is ready to go, and that means, ladies and gentlemen, you guessed it. It is time once again for some of that obligatory elevator music. Alrighty folks, we're cruising right along here, flight level 410. We're around 100 nautical miles, I think, from top of descent, 135, so not too bad. First thing we want to do here, getting ready for the descent, is hit the recall. Now, I keep getting this VNAV step climb. I went down here and I took a look at VNAV, and right now recommended is flight level 420, but that's 1,000 feet less than where we'd need to step to, so I'm not really sure why it's telling us to do that, or why it's recommending that on the ICAS, but it is what it is, so I'm not too worried about it. We do need to go ahead and take care of our reference speeds, but before we do that, let's go to departure and arrival. And we are taking, I've already put it in here, it's the Vute 3 Bravo arrival for us, and then it's going to be ILS runway 12 right. And let's see, where's a good transition here? Rarick probably will work out just fine, so we'll take that. Maybe. There we go. And let's execute it. And then, so you see a bunch of stuff jumped in there. That's fantastic. But let's take a look at our plan view here. Now this will be kind of handy actually. So we will keep this on the legs page, and then on this one let's put it on nav display and plan view, and then we can just do it right here, which is kind of nice. The only downside is if you want to bring the range down, you got to come up here to do it, right? So there we go. So that looks good to me. Let's go ahead and step through these here. Where's my step? It's not letting me step through it. How do I step through it? Usually it says step right here. Did I miss something? Maybe. I don't know. Let's go next page. Yeah, it doesn't do anything when I do that, does it? Interesting. I wonder why it's not stepping through it. Maybe you just can't do that down here? Alrighty then, let's put this back on the CDU. Put it on the legs page, and let's jump up here. That's nice. Did I mess something up here? No, come on. Select info, should be nav display on both. Map. Wait, what happened there? Shouldn't it be... Yeah, we want to switch those. There we go. All right, well, I guess that's what you had to do. You had to push it twice like that. That's kind of weird. Okay, well, we're learning. We learn as we go sometimes, right? Alright, let me just, I'm just shifting the view a little bit for you here, make it a little bit easier. So let's put this on the plan mode now, and now it's going to let us step through. So maybe you just can't step through with this one. So, I don't know, let's step through for now, and then we'll see if you can do it where this one's on nav display and step on this one. That'd be kind of nice. Okay, we got a few pages to go here. Everything looks good so far, but here we are. This is where we're coming into our approach. So that's kind of crazy looking there, isn't it? Holy cow. Okay, real quick before we dig any deeper here, let's just go ahead and let's crank this altitude down. 3,000 feet is where we want to go ultimately, and let me just get that down there just so that it starts the descent, because we're going to be here for a minute, I think. Alright, okay. So, coming in on our approach, it is, this is pretty crazy here. I'm not really sure what all of this is. So, VTEB is, so this is all part of the arrival. Holy cow! That's what this is. This is all part of the arrival, all the way to Rarick. Good night, people. What is that all about? You'll see when I just pulled up the arrival. I didn't really pay attention to it. Ooh, okay. So that's what we got going on here. So out here at Ivudi, we need to be at or below 10,000. Where's that at on here? That's VTEB. So it's the next one here. So next page, maybe. Wait, what? There's VTEB. Okay, there's Ivudi there. So 10, at or below 10. Yeah, so it's looking good. So this is all the arrival all the way to Rarick, right? So now it's going to come back this way, over here, and then there's Rarick, and then Rarick starts our approach, and it's pretty much a straight in approach. So you've got Rarick, and then PDOV, and then DB657. I'm just looking over here. You got that, and then you've got a few more. You've got 6.0 from IDBE 4.0, and so on. Those aren't actually waypoints; they're just distance markers during your approach. So it looks like we're good to go on that. So at least we know we can fly it. We should be fine. Although that's pretty crazy. I may cut some of that arrival off. We'll see when the time comes. Coming up on the top of the descent here pretty quick. Now I do want to check one other thing while we're here. Can we put this one on nav display and plan, and will it let us step through? No, it won't. That's kind of a bummer. It'd be nice if you could step through right here. That would just make it a lot easier. But obviously that's not the case. So put that back on CDU. We'll leave that on the legs page. Go to our initial reference. This is going to be for our landing, and we're looking at it's going to be 12 right is, holy cow, does it not show the length of the runway on here? There is a lot of information on this taxi chart, you guys. Holy guacamole. 14,590 feet. That is a seriously long runway. So I think we can do flaps 25 on that. We'll put that down in here. And then the ILS frequency of 109.5 is programmed in. You can see that right there. 119 degrees is the course. And we'll get all that here in a second when we do the brief. Alright, so we've got all of that. Alright, why is it not letting me change views? There we go. It's still telling me that VNAV step climb. I'm just going to clear that off of there. And we'll be on top of descent here in no time. Let's take a look over here at our checklist. Why is it not? Oh, it's... There we go. So when you try it, when you move it down here, it takes it off of there. That's kind of interesting. So let's take a look at our descent checklist. Recall's been checked. Notes have been noted. Auto brake, we're not going to need any auto brake. Landing data, we've got that. VREF is going to be 146? Yeah, 146 on the VREF, flaps 25. And minimums, we haven't briefed it yet, but minimums are going to be 211 feet. So we can set those really quick. Put it over here on Barrow. And where's it at? I can't even see it. Yeah, I know where it's at though. It's right here. This is one thing. It's hard to see some of the stuff on here. So that's at 300. And for some reason it's going in blocks of 10 feet. So 210 feet is what we're going to put it at. And then the approach briefing, which we haven't completed yet. So let's take care of that now that I've done blathered on for a little bit here. Let me grab my Sim Toolkit Pro. So there you have it right there, folks. The VTEB 3B arrival is something to behold. I mean, obviously this has to do with traffic control and all of that, but that is a crazy, I don't think I've ever seen an arrival like that anywhere. So our ATIS is on 126.275. Airport elevation is 62 feet. And we're coming in out here at VTEB at 230 knots, at or below 12,000 for 3B, at or below 10,000 for 3E. So we're 3B. So then it's down to Ivudi, at or below 10,230 knots, right turn to 119 degrees. You're going to hit DB429, Tulam, DB427 at or below 7,000, DB426 at 210 knots. DB425, then it's a right turn to 209 to DB421, and I'm not going to keep talking here. You guys see what's going on here. So we need to be at or below 6,000 here. We're supposed to be at 185 knots here. We make the turn here, 185 knots at Salil. That's this one over here. That's not us. And then Rarick, and then it's on to the approach from there. The approach at least is pretty straightforward. So let's take a look at our briefing strip up here. ATIS on 126.275, approach is 122.5, and arrivals for us, we're coming in basically from the north, so 124.450. Approach control or director here is 127.9, and the tower 118. We're going to be on the south side when we land, so probably 19.550, and ground on 18.350. Localizer frequency is 109.500 with a final approach course of 119 degrees. Glide slope intercept at 6 nautical miles from IDBE, that is the localizer, and that's at 1,922 feet. It's a it's going to be a Cat 1 ILS for us. Missed approach, climb direct to DB614, then on track 134 to DB655 at 4,000 feet, then turn left on track 044 to Tall 2, hold at 4,000 feet. And you can see basically what you got going on here, and then you're going to hold at Tall 2. Alright, transition altitude is 13,000 feet. I did set it in there. And I also saw where my mistake was on departure. It was supposed to say 10,000. It said 1,000 feet. That's why it was telling me to go to standard already. So there you have it. And then you can see on our plan page here, or our plan view, coming in out at Rarick, then PDOV, and then DB657. And then these waypoints are not in the FMC. So basically we're just flying on in from there. Now, glide slope intercept is supposed to be here at 6 nautical miles out, so we might go DB657. You see it's 3.4 nautical miles here. We're going to set that up. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to move this over here. Alright, and did we pass top of descent already? No. It didn't just bypass it, did it? Come on, tell me it didn't just bypass it. Progress to top of descent, 65 nautical miles. Oh, you just couldn't really see it on there. Okay, I thought maybe we bypassed it. My bad. Alright, so check this out. Go to your legs page here. And let's see. We want to do... Let's go to the last page. There's runway 12 right there. So one more page back. And we're looking for a DB657. That's this guy right here. Alright, click on that to put it in the scratch pad. Alright. And then we're going to go on heading 119, 119 degrees, slash, and then it is 3.4 nautical miles from there to glide slope intercept. So put 3.4, that should work. And then we want that to come after DB657, so we're going to put it right here. Alright, let me show you what that looks like here. That's one thing I kind of dislike here. It's kind of hard to get the view that you want, right? So it's nice that I can fly around in here, but okay, so if I put that on plan, and let's zoom it down here, alright, and then put this one on legs, and let's go to page 6 here. Alright, so where are we at? Step. Okay, so there's DB658, right? And DB657 is the one that, what did it do? Oh, it just created DB658. So 657 is 658. So DB658 would be our glide slope intercept, right? So if I execute that, you see that it leaves a gap there. I can take runway 12 and I can just put it right there. But let me just show you what that did. Where's my clear? Here we go. Clear that off. Alright, so I can do the same thing from DB658, keeping in mind that that's the waypoint that I just created. Why it labeled it as that, I don't know. But if I select that, the next one would be 4 nautical miles from the runway, which is 2 miles ahead of 658. So I just select 658. We're still on 119 degrees. So 119, and then a slash, and then it's 2 nautical miles, so 2, right? And then what I'm gonna do is there's 658. I want it to come after that, so I would put it right here where this discontinuity is. Watch, it's gonna pop up right here. Bam, 659, right? Now, it looked like it went backwards though, didn't it? That doesn't make any sense. Is it just me or did it look like it went backwards? What is going on here, guys? This isn't doing what I want it to. Step forward. There's 659, right? And then there's 657, 659, 658. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Erase that. So 657 to 658. Maybe that was already there and I just didn't notice it. It says 3 nautical miles. And then from 658 to the runway, if we put that in there, is how far? 6 miles. 246. Yeah, I guess it was already there. That's the only thing I can figure. Alright, so basically I've wasted our time here, but you guys have seen that before anyway. You know how to do it. Let's go back over to initial reference here. Maybe. There we go. We should be on the descent now, right? Or close to it. Let's put this back on map. Zoom it out a little bit. And we are not on the descent yet. Oh, I went the wrong way. Idiot. There's top of descent up there. It's about 20 nautical miles. Alright, I apologize for a little bit of time wasting there. But let's, real quick, let's finish up this brief. I think we're pretty much good to go. We should have PAPI lights on both sides of the runway, but we do not have add-on scenery, so it's hard to say with default. Decision altitude 211 feet. Now we spent all that time talking. Let's finish up the checklist here. It's good to go. That takes us to our approach checklist, which we don't need right now. Nav display up there. And I will see you guys when we're somewhere in that maze of the arrival coming up on the approach. Alrighty folks, I'm coming on here a wee bit early, actually quite early. And the reason I'm coming on here so early is because everything got a little out of whack here. So I flew the approach once already. I landed the plane, I filed the PIREP, I closed everything out, but I have to redo the approach. As you guys know, sometimes things interfere with our flight sim and stuff like that. In this case, it was the birth of my son, so I'd say it's a pretty good reason. Everything wasn't the way I wanted it. So basically I'm just reflying the approach, and it would take a while to explain why, but we did fly it once already, and I just determined that it just wasn't acceptable for a video, and that has nothing to do with you know, you guys know I'll leave mistakes on here and stuff like that. It was just the quality of the video and whatnot just wasn't going to cut it. So with all that in mind, we're coming on to the arrival here now. You may recall, and it's actually been almost a week, I think, since I originally recorded this. So I'm coming back into it. I know that, so this is the arrival, and I showed this to you guys already. We did the brief before descent and all the craziness that comes with it, and I'm trying to figure out why it should be descending right now, because we're supposed to be at or below 7,000 at this waypoint right here, and I don't know why it's not descending. So let's put this at 7,000, and let's do altitude intervention, because yeah, it looked like it's showing a top of climb and then a top of descent. I don't know, that's really weird. But at 426, well, we're supposed to be at 427, we're supposed to be at or below 7,000. We're not, clearly, but it's not doing what it's supposed to. So I don't know, it's you know, coming into it like this is always difficult. So there's 425, 421. We should already be past these, because we just passed 427. We're coming up to 426 now, right? Yeah. So I don't know why it's showing 11,560. That's not correct. So at 421 we're supposed to be at or below 6,000. So let's put that in there real quick. So let's put 6,000. Oh, we got to put the slash first. So let's put slash 6123, and then it's at or below, and that's at 421. There we go. Execute that, and that should hopefully get it started on the descent here. Top of descent is before top of climb. Yeah, it's being weird. I don't know what's going on with it here, but the VNAV is not working properly. So you can see it's showing top of descent now there. But what are we at? I mean, we should be on descent already. We really should. So let's just put that back at 3,000, and stop. It can be hard to come back into a flight, especially when you're trying to make a video. See, it's showing top of climb and top of descent pretty much at the same point. So I'm just going to let it do its flight here at this point. I will get the aircraft down to the proper altitude in time. I can tell you from the last time I flew this approach, when I activated the localizer, we were on final here. I activated the localizer and the aircraft started flying over here. So the localizer is not aligned. I'll probably show that to you anyway, just so you can see, and then we'll just do a manual approach. There's one other thing that is driving me crazy with this airplane right now, and I don't know what's causing this, because it was fine before and all of a sudden it's not working properly. The call-outs, they are so quiet, and I have looked at everything I can't find any information anywhere. Apparently I'm the only person on the entire planet having this problem. And even when I go into the files, into the folder, and I pull out those call-outs, you know, the actual files, and I play them, they're super quiet. So I don't know why that's like that. I don't know if anybody else is having that issue, and if you are, please, for the love of my sanity, let me know down in the comments what you did to fix it. Excuse me, if you did anything to fix it. Yeah, so there you have it. So I'm going to go ahead and break away for a minute, but I will be back shortly. It'll just be a few seconds for you guys, and we'll be on the approach, and we'll be set up, and we'll be going good, I promise. Alright, so one thing's for sure, this is going to be interesting. The wind is supposed to be blowing the other direction. I even set it to blow the other direction, and it's doing nothing. So, I don't know. According to this, we should be on glide slope. At least you get a cough in the face, right? But there's no way we're on glide slope. Yeah, I really have no idea what's going on with it right now. We're gonna land the airplane, I can tell you that. We're gonna land it safely, but Yeah, it's just a mess right now. Now watch what happens when I hit the localizer switch here. Oh, there she goes. See you later. Look, there's the runway there, but the localizer's way over here. Big friggin' surprise, right? So autopilot's coming off. There we go. Let's get that proper view. Track IR coming on. That was a freaky looking jump there. Alright, now she wants to try and climb on us. Alright, so this is going to be interesting to say the least, but we'll try and get her down there. And we'll get her down nice and smooth, nice and safe. Now I did make a view for this guy. Let's give it a shot here, shall we? Maybe it's this one down here. I bet you it is. Bloop. There we go. Alright. Let's see here. So we're on a slight descent. We need to go over here more obviously. And I'm just trying to look. You can see that my QNH is set wrong now. There we go. 995. Yeah, see the winds at our back right now, which just really stinks. We can't see PAPI lights, so we won't have that visual guidance. Let's go ahead and get in the next setting of flaps. We're supposed to be at 143, so we'll just bring this to 148 now. There we go. And that should help us start to descend a little bit as well. Next setting of flaps coming in. And I just went full flaps for this one. That wasn't my original plan, but that's what we're doing. You can just make out the PAPI lights there. And we're actually pretty much on glide slope here, so that's nice. We're way off to the right, and that tailwind sucks, but we can land with a tailwind. It's not impossible to do. It's just not ideal, obviously. It does seem to be slowing a bit.
Traffic.
So let's walk her in and see how she goes. I have no idea what that box means. I haven't looked up any information on flying with the HUD. I don't usually fly with it, obviously. Oh geez, we got a long way to go with our flaps here. Oh, look at this guy! Look at this guy! Oh, turn that off. We're way too high here. Let's get the rest of the flaps in. Oh my goodness. Does it show our flap setting on here? I'm looking around, I'm not seeing it. It might though. And one more setting of flaps and we'll be good. I mean, the airplane's certainly flyable. That's not the issue by any means. It's just an issue of callouts. Can't hear them at all. So I'm going to try and shut up for the rest of this trip in here, and you guys just listen. You'll barely hear them. There's one there.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
You know what? I didn't bring the landing gear down.
Terrain.
That's awesome. How about we do a landing checklist here? Let's see, landing gear's coming down, flaps are full, speed brake is armed. Need to descend a little quicker here. We were way too high. Well, the wind shifted nicely for us. Oh, come on, get down. Jeez Louise, man. I had worse problems than this last time too. Like, the aircraft was just not doing what it's supposed to.
300. Approaching minimums.
There we go.
Minimums. 200. $100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Oh yeah, that was rough. Minus 225. That was ugly. Come on. Oi. Okay. get back to a better view here. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I don't like the HUD. I don't like it. It's so cluttered. I'm sure you can declutter it a bit, but not only is it so I don't know. To me, it's more distracting.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be taxiing
I've
for the
flown
next
like
minutes.
military
So please
aircraft
sit with your seatbelt fastened.
with HUD,
Turns out
and
fasten seatbelt
it's
signs.
easy to fly, but it just, I don't know, it just kind of makes sense in a military aircraft. But for this airplane, I don't know. It just feels too cluttered, and I feel like I don't like it.
Please take care when opening the overhead.
Anyway, so there we have it. If I can get these, we'll leave that one on. Strobe light can come off, and let's get the APU started. Not my finest landing by any stretch of the imagination, but not my worst either. Alright, so let's get the flaps up. Let's get the spoilers back down. Let's go ahead and slow her down a bit here. Remember, this thing likes to just go when you're taxiing. It literally just likes to go on its own. So we'll slow her down real nice and slow here. And you know, let me just take the track hour off for a second here. I'm a little frustrated, obviously. Like, I don't know, everything's just kind of like we didn't do our checklist. I'm a mess right now. But our next checklist will be our shutdown checklist. There's no after landing checklist on here. Obviously, after landing, you know, flaps need to come all the way up, spoilers need to go down, landing lights need to come off, APU needs to be started. All of that stuff is done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and taxi, and then we'll take care of this shutdown, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up, because jumping back into it, this was a little rough. It might have been easier to just do the whole flight over again, but anyway, I'll be back with you guys here in just a second. We'll wrap things up. Alrighty, folks, we got her to the gate here. I do apologize that things are you know, a little wacky as far as the approach and the landing and all that stuff goes. It's kind of hard to jump back into a flight after, you know, 5 days. I have to admit that. But I did want to get this one completed for you guys, so that we can continue on with our global tour. Now, I did complete the flight the first time I recorded the landing. I completed the flight in ACARS, so we are good to go for our next leg and all of that. But again, there were just some issues with the recording that just weren't acceptable for uploading. I try to keep a pretty high standard. I'm sure most of you are aware of that. And so when things just aren't up to snuff, I'm not gonna upload that as a video. As far as mistakes and things like that, I'll leave those in. I don't have a problem with that. And just errors, sometimes errors too. But when there's a recording problem, 99 out of 100 times I'm going to go ahead and redo something so that we don't have that recording issue. So I apologize for that. I hope that you guys understand. And let's go ahead and take care of our shutdown here. GSX is not working. Big surprise there. APU gen is up and running, so we're good on that. Let's go ahead and shut down the engines. 1 and 2. There we go. We can clean up the MCP here as well. I didn't do that yet. There we go. And let's see what else here. Oh, I got 50 pages of stuff to go through, of course. That's good, that's good. And here we go, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, so the parking brake is set, the fuel cutoff switches are off, the seatbelt sign can go off at this point. Ding, not that anybody's going to be offloading here. I should just stay up top there. Hydraulic pumps can all come off at this point as well. So off, 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 and off. You can leave those two as they are. IRS selectors can go off as well, left and right. Flight deck door power, we'll leave that alone. Fuel pumps can all come off. There we go. Engine anti-ice, we'll leave that on auto. Beacon can go off. Strobe light should have already gone off. Taxi lights, oh, strobe light was off. Taxi light should have already gone off though. Beacon light can go off. Wing light can go off. Nav light stays on. Flight directors are off. Transponder needs to go to standby. Most of these are things you actually I should have done when I landed. But you know, my groove is off, if you will. In the real world, you wouldn't just jump into the middle of a flight like that, obviously. So I apologize. My groove is off a little bit, but we're all shut down, and that's going to wrap it up for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I really sincerely apologize. I hope that it wasn't, you know, that it didn't take away or detract from the video too much. Like I said, I like to keep my videos, I like to keep the quality level high. You know, that's what I strive for. But we did need to finish up this flight, and even though that's actually, believe it or not, it's my third time doing the landing this morning, but I just seem to be having a hard time finding my groove jumping in like that. It's kind of weird to jump into a flight when you're on the arrival like that. So not the end of the world, but I hope that you guys enjoyed the flight in general, and I'm looking forward to the next one and continuing this tour, and I hope that you guys are too. If you haven't already done so, please take the opportunity to smash the subscribe button. We are over 8,500 subscribers now. I would like to get to 10,000 by the end of the year, and if we do, we will absolutely be doing a giveaway. And what I've decided is when we start getting close to that number, if it looks like we're going to make it, then I will come up with some options for a giveaway and put it up for a vote. And then everybody who's subscribed will be eligible to have an opportunity at that giveaway. And give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Probably not my best approach and landing. I've made plenty of mistakes because, again, I'm out of my groove there. But please give the video a thumbs up and let me know I'm doing a good job. And if you didn't like the video, you can give it a thumbs down. But please give some constructive yet kind criticism down in the comments if you do. That's it. That's all and no more, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, as always, keep the blue side up unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all and have an absolutely wonderful day.